Welcome to the show. I wanted to talk today about preserving your personal peace and how to handle people that want to take that away. And it's really tough because the people that generally threaten your personal peace are the people that are close to you. These are people that you have let in. They're a long-standing friend, a family member, even a spouse. That can totally be something that happens. And that's when we're at our weakest because you actually care what this person thinks. And that's where the opening comes in, is when you care. And I'm not saying don't care about what people who are important to you think, but you also have to use discernment. People in general like to have control. And some people need control. And they'll do anything to inflict it. That could be playing emotional games or mind games. Some people come at you like really hard to try to push you in submission. And then some people play the victim all the time, even though they're the source of their issue. And for me, this is kind of personal because I've experienced this a lot of my life. And a lot of times, those people who have threatened my personal peace the most are those who suffer from some form of addiction. And, and of course, the narcissistic people that you run into in life. But the thing about the narcissist is they attack you, they want to fight, they want to manipulate you because it's a dopamine hit. So I guess you could say they're an addict in their own way because they need that dopamine hit. They need to fight with somebody. They need to try to prove their superiority or validate their victimhood. Those are just the two most common characters a narcissist will play. And a lot of times in the same light, addicts do the same thing. I guess you could say there's those master manipulators in life. And as a Christian, in particular, we're easy prey because we have this thing called Christian guilt. And that is because we read the Bible in a way that we're supposed to just do everything we can in life to serve Jesus. And one of those things is to be forgiving, empathetic, show unlimited kindness and forgiveness. And we forget that you can forgive, but you don't have to keep walking through the same door with the same result. Your spiritual peace is the most important thing as a Christian that you can keep in line. And the only way to do that is to have boundaries. We also have to realize that people who are in these situations, they're a victim of their own circumstance. In other words, they've created it. And society has labeled it as a disease, as a disability. It could be a lot of things. But we tend to make it okay. And although we need to help those people, and circumstance caused them to make a mistake that led to long extenuating circumstances. At the end of the day, though, they are the one that has to make the decision to do better, to get better, to be better. There's nothing that you can really do if they are not willing to want it first. And that's the first realization that you need to have, is they got to want it. If they don't want it, you're just beating your head into the wall. No matter how much you want it for that person to have a prosperous life, to be happy, to be fruitful in all of their endeavors, you cannot do it for them. They got to want to do it. And the thing about addiction is that they did walk through a door. They did that, not you. Generally, it's not forced upon them. It is usually self-medication of some sort. And that's just a fact. Most addicts are self-medicating. There is something in their life that was so dreadful that they just needed to escape. And instead of running into the arms of God and the salvation of Christ, they ran the opposite way. And that's a personal journey. And we can't do anything about that. And these kinds of sins are very, very definite in the Bible. Romans 6:23 says that the wages of sin are death. Isaiah 59:2 says that sin isn't just punishment, it's distance from the one who gives us peace and purpose. Hebrews 9:22 talks about without shedding of blood, there is no remission. And what that's referring to is that Christ's sacrifice on the cross was for our sin. It does not mean that we can sin freely. That's not what it's saying. It's saying to remember the price of salvation was death. This isn't a new concept. Prior to Christ, in the Jewish faith, and a lot of other faiths as well, they did blood sacrifice of animals, and in some situations, they did human sacrifices, such as in the religion of Baal, or Molech, or Ishtar. It's kind of disgusting, but yeah, human life was so frivolous that they would sacrifice babies. And we have to remember what Christ paid. And also remember that in ourselves, that's worth preserving as well. You can be of good counsel, but you have to set solid boundaries. And sometimes that involves cutting somebody completely out of your life. I have family members that we can't have a relationship. That's just the bottom line. Either it's just our personalities clash, or they just have some things to work out before they can have functioning relationships with anybody else. I have, in the past, had to cut friends completely out of my life. Addicts who were sober, but they were miserable about being sober. They wanted to use, and they took it out on everybody around them. And then people who are currently addicts, and they only want to come around or talk to you whenever they're just looking to get some sympathy or just to pick a fight to fight with somebody because they're that miserable. And you should try. But if this is a person who's not trying for themselves to where you can actually build them up, then every time that you try to build them up, they lash out. And a lot of them, they get real mad whenever you mention Christ because they feel like they've been dealt a bad card by Christ. But is it really you getting dealt a bad card whenever you choose to self-medicate, you choose to not get help that in today's day and age is readily available? Is that really God? You know, people miss this one thing. This world is Satan's. The world is Satan. Human desire, fleshly desires, fleshly needs are Satan's plaything. I mean, think about it. Using drugs, that's a fleshly need. Then it becomes a physical need, but there are organizations out there that can help you get past that if you really want. And even offer counseling to help you figure out what that internal damage is that makes you want to escape life. Addiction is slow suicide. That's just what it is. And you think I'm picking on drinking or doing drugs, hard drugs. No, it can be just something as your diet. Eating too much because you're addicted to food or you don't have impulse control and you're morbidly overweight because of your eating. I understand some people are overweight because of other conditions, and that is out of their control, and that is horrible. I do have family members that suffer from that, and they need a lot of, peace and building up, but they're not lashing out at people. They're not feeding into the stereotypes. But there are people out there who are genuinely addicted to food, addicted to sugar, addicted to access. And it's tough. It's legal. It's legal to eat food. It's not like it's something that you can get arrested for, which makes it so easy. You can be addicted to sex. You can be addicted to all kinds of things. And there's healthy addictions. Don't get me wrong. I know people who are addicted to going to the gym, and to a degree, it's healthy. It's when you start hurting yourself or you start taking steroids or something like that because of self-image. But if you're doing something for the right reasons and going about it in a healthy way, that's completely different. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with positive addictions. There are people that have addictions to reading the Word, listening to podcasts, and doing studies, and are just overall addicted to knowledge. That I consider that more like a passion than an addiction. An addiction is whenever, in those regards, is whenever you're hurting people around you, like being addicted to work, and you're not being there for your family. The other side of the coin is obviously the negative addictions like overeating, sugar, hard drugs, alcoholism. Those are destructive. They're isolating. And They isolate you more from just people. They isolate you from God. So just that hopefully that puts new meaning on the price for sin is death, because it's death of self. It's not necessarily an actual death. You lose yourself to the desire, to where there's no you, there's only the desire. God calls us to be of spiritual nature. Good fruits like kindness, being a good friend. But just remember, it's okay to set boundaries. A lot of times people who have addictions, everybody has to cut them out of their life so that they will finally want help because they're tired of being alone. Giving them money for them to use on drugs, or providing a way for them to use drugs, whether it's a byproduct of, for instance, you have a child and they're an adult, but yet they're still your kid if you're a parent. You don't want them to live on the street, but they can't hold down a job, so you let them stay with you, or you provide them an apartment. They have no bills, so the extra money they have, they're using to buy drugs that are killing them. You have to pull your support. Hard love is what that is. It doesn't mean you don't love them. You're putting separation because you do. Because here's the thing. If you provide a comfortable area for a virus, that virus is going to grow. It's going to flourish. You have to create an uncomfortable environment for the virus to want to leave. And you better bet absolutely that Satan loves it when we accept and tolerate sin. Loves it. Because then it makes it okay, despite it is spitting in the Creator's face. Satan is the Lord of lies. So don't be a part of the lie. I love you all. I hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.